This is the award-winning Lee Pitts Live.
Brought to you by the North Law Firm. For car accidents and negligent security cases, call Joe at 239-337-1191. And by Lee Health.
Southwest Florida, welcome back to another edition of Lee Pitts Live. We're here at McGregor Clinic, and aren't the accommodations just nice? Like that whole look back there. You can see outside, get a little sunshine in here. So it's always great to be here. Next month, we'll be at Lee Health at the Children's Hospital doing our thing there. They always give us great accommodations there as well. We have a fabulous show in store for you today. We get a chance to talk to the superintendent of the school district of Lee County, Dr. Greg Adkins. Also, we get a chance to talk to Jarrett, Eady, the diversity chief and the chief of diversity and inclusion for the school district of Lee County. All that's happening in Lee Pitts Live. Then we'll get a chance to talk to Melissa. She's the communications manager for the city of Punta Gorda. We'll be right back. Southwest Florida, welcome back. We are so thrilled and honored to have two of our community leaders here in the area of education for the school district of Lee County. We have the superintendent and we have the director of the chief inclusion diversity officer. I got it backwards, Jarrett, but down the road I'll have it like I need to have it. Gentlemen, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Glad to be here.
It's been a long time coming. Just to give people a background, bumped into Jarrett. I said, Jarrett, get you on the show, and eventually it happened. Okay, things slipped, but I should have gotten you on earlier. But I'm glad you got you here now. And the good thing we got both of you here now, because these are exciting times in education here in Southwest Florida, particularly in the school district of Lee County, and we'll get a chance to talk about some of this stuff. Now, Dr. Adkins, we said. I introduced him to Diversity and Inclusion Officer. What is that, and why do we need that?
Well, the reason we need that is Lee County, as you know, is a growing county, and the more we grow, the more diverse we come. We're actually a majority school district now. A lot of people don't know that. And in addition to that, you're looking at kids that are coming here, not just from all around the nation, but different countries. I mean, our ELL population, we're looking at literally like 10,000 kids that are out there in English language learners is really just their focus. So diversity is something that's a long time in coming. It's a need in the school district to have somebody really focused on dealing with the issues of diversity and also inclusion.
Now, Jarrett, since I've been doing this show, I started about 28 years ago. I used to didn't hear the word diversity, inclusion, chief diversity, inclusion. I've interviewed several of them over the years now. It seems like more and more corporations are understanding that they need somebody who's focused on that particular aspect as society continues to evolve as it is. What's your thoughts on not Lee County School District right now, but just in general, we're seeing more and more people in corporations who are keeping an eye on the ball and advising.
Right. I agree with you. I think to be competitive as a school district and as any major Fortune 500 company or any small company, we have to ensure that our communities are heard and seen and included in the process. That's why it's very important for our school district to ensure that the voices of our students and our employees are at the table and conversations are in place to ensure that mentoring and enrichment, professional development, recruitment, and retention are major parts of what we do with the lens of supporting all children to reach his or her highest potential, but specifically talking about the demographics that our superintendent referenced.
Mm-hmm. Now, when we talk about reclusion and retention, we want to there's a tremendous amount of effort that goes out in bringing in all types of educators, all ethnic background. Then there's another aspect of keeping them here. Talk about that, importance of that.
Well, I think it's extremely important. So our district's emphasis on recruitment with our recruitment department, the recruitment aspect of it is thinking outside of the box. It's important for us to know in our educational society today that unfortunately not a lot of our young people at our universities across the state and across the nation are majoring in education. So for our district to remain competitive, we have to think outside of the box as it relates to recruitment. Something I was happy to work with the district a couple of years ago was to start our New to Teaching Academy. And so the New to Teaching Academy is something that's very simple. We can go out and recruit a Lee Pitts who might not have been an education major but might have interest in being a teacher. We can bring him to Lee County and give him professional development and support through the New to Teaching Academy. So when he gets to the classroom on the first day, he's had an opportunity to have some exposure to some of the great pedagogy that our students who majored in education received. That's the first part of it, ensuring that we can recruit outside of education majors. I think the second piece of it, looking at it from the lens of diversity, our recruitment committee has now started to have focus groups, specifically targeting our African American and our Hispanic serving institutions in the state of Florida. So when we go out and recruit, what is the impetus that will bring people to Southwest Florida? And then the second part of what you mentioned is keeping them here. That is something that I would challenge our communities, not just with our educational community, but our city, our county government, to say, what can we do to build a better community so that when people move here, they want to stay here. So the district, we don't exist on an island. We exist a part of the city of Fort Myers and as a part of Lee County. So the major retention piece is to ensure that the people that we recruit here enjoy the place that we love to live in and our community that we love to talk about so much.
Now, piggybacking on what you just said is, when I first came here as a professional, I came here as a bank vice president. I was already a made man when I came here. I got a promotion in Jacksonville. I came to Fort Myers. I was already who I was. Right. But I was like trying to get out of Fort Myers. I'm like, where are all the black people? What do they do? Where are they at? What the cultural things around here for me to be involved in? I don't see, and on the radio, things have changed since then. You could turn the radio now and hear some R&B music. So what happens is people are not sensitive to how different people see things. And social events are very important, and people want to find spouses and all that. So all that becomes a big package that you're working on, right? Since you've been in there for
about 4 months.
4 months now, what are some things that have already percolated and coming into reality?
As you know, I do a lot of community work, and that is really my passion, to bring together communities all across our viewing area. And I had the great joy of being once again a part of the Support Our Students Summer Initiative with Dunbar Community School with Mr. Ken Burns. SOS, being part of the planning committee, working with Ken, helping write the curriculum and the structure and the schedule for the day for the students. So see that program to go from our first year of having 60 students to now expanding of enrolling initially 120 students at the historic Dunbar Community School, which was our first Dunbar High School location on High Street. It was a great joy to see the young people come in every day and be exposed to college and career readiness curriculum, as well as understanding the enrichment, the money market. I know you're personally excited about that. For personal finance and banking, those things.
So I need to come in there and talk to the kids this summer.
You have an open invitation.
I can still talk back.
To come back and to have that opportunity to see what really matters outside of what they get in the classroom, but still have that curriculum be standards-based, Florida standards-based for writing and also for reading curriculum and standards components. So far, that was the greatest joy for me starting the job, to be able to transition from not just being a pet project of working on it last year with Mr. Burns, but having to be a part of the banner of diversity and inclusion to provide that mentoring and enrichment and support for the students.
I want to come back to you, before I go to the superintendent, I want to come back to you and talk about the fact that you're in this position, but you have been involved in education for a long period of time,
yes,
and you bring that to your discussion and how you see things. Dr. Adkins, one of the things that I noticed from being in corporation and so on and so forth, when you have diversity initiatives, inclusion initiatives, and those types of things that roll down, the message has to come from the top. Once they know that the person at the top, like yourself, is 100% behind this, you in front of it, you're not hiding from it, it works a lot better. Tell us how you are at the top putting that message out to the world.
Well, it's a very good question. One of the things that he and I actually talked about when he first came on board is how do we do that? So one of the first things we did was I went right to the principals who are kind of leaders of their buildings, and we talked about the importance of this position and what we hope to accomplish. This is about really improving achievement for our students at the end of the game. I mean, we've got significant achievement gaps that we have to close, and we've made some progress, but this position is going to bring new focus to that. Those principals, then, they're the leaders within their building, so they can help us spread the word there. The second part is just getting out in the community, coming on shows like this, getting the message out there, going to community events and talking about the importance of diversity and what that means to our school district and why we have this position focused on this very thing.
You in particular, one of the things I noticed about you, before this rollout of this initiative, you were moving around in diverse communities anyway. And I've said this before on the show. So this wasn't a major changing of life for you, right? Go ahead.
Yeah, it really wasn't. I mean, it's something that it's important to get out into the communities that you serve. I mean, we have kids that come from all walks of life, and we have to understand about where those kids come from if we're to educate them. So yeah, this to me was a very easy thing to do because it's something that we certainly feel is necessary. And so when we came up with the idea, and then we were fortunate enough to have this gentleman who already was very involved in the community, so he knew all the players, and the advantage that gives the school district is he's been able to really hit the ground running.
You didn't have to get somebody from outside. Jarrett knows everybody and knows all the buttons and things. Now, you said just now in your statement that you've already started some initiatives on closing the achievement gap. I want to back up and slow that down for a minute, Sesame Street this. Let's talk about where in general, problems in the achievement gap and some of the things that are already starting to be rolled out.
So, for example, when kids come to us literally into kindergarten, some kids are really well prepared and other kids are not. And that's where the gap begins, is in kindergarten. So one of the things we've done as a school district is we're really focused on pre-K, pre-kindergarten education, so that kids can really be better prepared for kindergarten. So we expanded at James Stephens International Academy, one of the schools that serves the Fort Myers community. And if we can really expand that across the school district, we have more kids that are actually prepared when they start kindergarten, so you have that gap be less.
You're not behind going in.
And then Jarrett mentioned the SOS program. Another place where that gap occurs is during the summer, because a lot of kids, if they have a little bit more means, parents have them in this summer camp, that summer camp, and their education continues. The SOS program reaches a different population of students who may not have that opportunity, and now their education continues. So they're not falling behind in the summertime, they're actually catching up. So those are just two examples that we've already started.
Now we constantly we're saying this word SOS. I'm familiar with. What do those acronyms stand for?
Sure. SOS stands for Support Our Students.
Okay, I have to
support our students.
All right, folk at home,
Program.
don't
Yes,
text me and say, hit me up on Twitter saying, Lee, what is SOS? Okay, now let's go to, do we have, I benefited from Head Start? Does that exist as it used to exist back in the 60s when, based on my income, my mom was able to put me in Head Start? When I got to the first grade, I was rolling.
Right.
Right, and I remember the teachers in the first grade wanted to skip me because I got bused for Head Start and growing up in poverty. Does it exist as it exists? But what you're describing right now sounds like a form of Head Start that's mainstreamed into the district.
Right, Head Start is certainly a part of that, but we need to expand those opportunities because right now we have waiting lists to get into some of our pre-K program and our Head Start program, but there are thousands and thousands of kids that are not able to participate. So one of the initiatives of Vision 2020, our strategic plan, is to expand those opportunities. I mean, ultimately, we work on a group called Future Lee, something that just started. And one of the visions of Future Lee is to literally provide an education for every kid in Lee County, pre-K through college.
You mentioned the professional development piece. That didn't exist in the past?
No, I won't say it did not exist, but I think that the keen awareness and focus. So a couple of years ago, our district's curriculum department, curriculum and instruction and staff development department, decided that we took a different path, and so now we have a curriculum department and a professional development department. Prior to being a part of diversity and inclusion, I actually was a part of curriculum and staff development. So that gave us an opportunity to spread the word about culturally relevant or responsive teaching. CRT is the research behind it, gives us the opportunity to give teachers and administrators exposure to professional development that is culturally rich, and also taking it from the mindset of deficit thinking to the growth mindset of being able to tap into the rich cultural values that our students bring to the table, as well as going deep and looking at some of the perceptions and judgments and stereotypes and biases that all of us possess that we need to be aware of before we step into a classroom of diverse learning.
Give me a for example.
Okay, for example, I give an example all the time. I think about my first year teaching. I witnessed a situation where a young man was getting in trouble for insubordination and disrespect. He was asked to say, I'm sorry. He had done something and he was told to say, I'm sorry. And he did not say I'm sorry because he was saying that his mother said there are no sorry people in my house.
Right.
So how do you stop that conversation and keep that young man from getting in trouble because he did not have the nomenclature or the conversation that the educator was looking for, And then conversely, the educator was not culturally sensitive to understand that she was asking that student to step outside of something that was shared with him. That there are no sorry people. You know, there are other ways of definitions of that word. So a great moment to intervene in that would have been able to say, okay, I'm sorry for, or I apologize. So would you apologize for that behavior? So that was a great teachable moment in my first year of teaching, where I saw that the young man was receiving a disciplinary action for something that he thought he was trying to say. He said, my bad. He said, my bad, but he would not say, I'm sorry.
So you have all these teachers in a room and they all have the requirements to take this training. And will this training be ongoing every year, or you just get your little check off on your slip and now you don't have to take it anymore?
Well, it's certainly something that's going to be ongoing, and I see us actually expanding. You know, we really hope to expand this department, because again, this is a growing school district. We're just starting, but our hope is to see this expand, because if we can train our teachers to really be able to meet the needs of every single one of our students, our success rate should go up dramatically.
One of the things that came out when I talked to you at the NAACP banquet here in Lee County, you and Brother James Milwaukee, the president of the Lee County branch of the NAACP, is that we have to work as a group. That I remember that just plain and still sticks in my head, and was so apropos that there are so many facets of the education system for children, from the family to the schools to outside of the schools. The community have to work as a group. When you got programs like SOS, we're working as, you know, you're tapping in. Go ahead and elaborate on how the community can continue to help with this effort.
Well, this is our community, and education of our children is the responsibility of our community. And what I can tell you as superintendent is that the education system by itself can't do it alone. Parents can help us, communities can help us. When you talk about a program such as SOS, we need community partners to help with that program. Back in the day when I was at Paul Lawrence Dunbar Middle School, I had help from like Mr. Muhammad at the Quality of Life Center came in and helped us with our alternative suspension program. It takes a team to be able to do that, and our community needs to be a part of the
Well,
team.
I'm glad you said alternative suspension program. I wanted to talk about that. You refreshed my memory. Let's talk about part of the whole effort is to, I think you alluded to it a bit when you were talking about the little boy who there's no sorry here. The suspension could happen quicker had trends show, patterns show. Everybody admits to that, which is good, that certain groups of people are getting suspended more often per capita than other groups. Go. And we want to reduce that.
Right, of course. Of course, that's something that we have to do. And I think the second part of professional development is to make sure that we equip teachers with the understanding of supporting our students, that we don't support our students from a deficiency thinking, that we have to fix the children, but our job should be to support them and to get them where they need to be. And then the next part is being able to understand that how do we define things like insubordination and disrespect? Are we having a keen focus and awareness? And Dr. Adkins has shared earlier, part of the conversation with our local NAACP branch in the agreement that our school district forged with them is, are we looking at having a keen awareness of data reporting based on subgroups and based on the statistics? And then how are we going forth with that? You know, our principals are sharing their plans with our academic cabinet and our academic officers from that level, but making sure that we have those plans in place to be able to address that so that we're not setting up children to have the situation that I said before.
How are you getting input, if you are getting input from the school teachers themselves? Are they able to say, hey, here's some things I recommend? Is that open discussion?
Sure. Another part of my position is also serving as the district director for our AVID system. So AVID stands for Advancement via Individual Determination. So I have a natural connection. I'm in schools at least once a week, meeting with teachers. AVID is a system that's support in place to help, one, close the achievement gap, but to make sure that first-generation college students all across the banner and all across the board, have an opportunity to have some of those scaffolds of success to be successful in college and career. So that gives me an opportunity to go out and see what's happening in schools. I was recently at one of our middle schools for their Male Mentor Day. So I get a chance to listen and see what's happening with that. I serve as a member of our district's academic cabinet. So I'm still involved with the academic issues that are happening, as well as our EDAC, our Equity and Diversity Advisory Committee. Those are community members, some educators, some community members who come in and we meet once a month and we talk about district issues and district policies and ways that they feel as a community that we can be more responsive to support the needs and understanding as one of our board members, and something that I've always felt outside of the community and just support in general, it is incumbent upon all of us as custodians of our next generation to take a proactive stance. And a proactive stance cannot just be the school district. We all have to step up. So Dr. Adkins talked about the partnerships.
Now, you have a huge frontier coming in terms of developing that department, expanding on it. It's going to be the future. How do you feel about the support that you're getting from within?
I cannot speak more about the level of support. There are not many times Dr. Adkins and I have a conversation that we don't end up on the same page, and me being able to be frank. And I think it's gotten to the point, even if we see things from a different perspective, he honors my voice, and he's found that we both like to talk. So we will sit and we'll talk about an issue, and I'm very forthright and I'm very forthcoming. And I've been happy to see that he takes my advice and he takes the consideration that we're going forward with. So that has helped being a part of the system and growing up in the community, if you will, and being a part of the school district to still have that open line of communication.
Dr. Adkins, the school district is a microcosm of society. Elaborate on that.
Well, it absolutely is. I mean, it's a microcosm of Lee County. We have people that come here from all facets of life. You know, I was out at my old school, Paul Lawrence Middle School, a couple weeks ago, and I'm in the cafeteria.
You know, you're a legend out there, though. Everybody talk about you and Paul Lawrence Dunbar. What did you were the principal there?
I was the principal.
Jarrett, where everybody like, he was like, he's a good man, you know. So go ahead.
But when I was walking around, you know, I was walking around with the principal, and he was talking about the diversity that comes into that school. He said, this is a reflection of Lee County. We get kids here that are from the most affluent backgrounds all the way to the most poverty-stricken backgrounds. We get them from all over the community, and that here they are together in the cafeteria, and they're just everybody getting along, just like you know, great. You know, it's just really, it was really just cool to see students coming together in that situation. And I think that type of environment actually helps prepare them for real life. I mean,
that environment that you just described, that is that a part and parcel of the busing system? Because I want you to educate me on this. When we say school choice, you can go to any school you want to. How would that affect the balance of diversity in this amongst the students?
You would be able to come to any school within your subzone or the adjacent subzone. So at Paul Lawrence Dunbar Middle School, you're talking about the South Zone. So it's anything really from, you know, Fort Myers all the way down to Bonita, even out to Sanibel and Three Oaks, San Carlos, Estero. But most of the kids that would come into that school are really coming from, you know, the central Fort Myers region. So school choice, you can't go anywhere, but you can go to any school within the subzone.
Okay, so the final question to you, Jarrett. Why is it important that we have to drill down to diversity in terms of the different teachers in front of students, the administrators, the school board, throughout, and the diversity of the students themselves in classes? Why is that important?
I think it's important because, one, our students are our future. And so that's not just something that we say that has no meaning behind it. It's important to know that our students are our future, and then also connected with that, going back to what our superintendent shared earlier, that our demographics are different than some folks might have realized that they are and where we were maybe 20 years ago. So to make sure that we have a society and make sure that our issues of high saliency and low complexity, the demographics are shifting, so it's incumbent upon us to ensure that all of our children understand that they matter, that you see them, and that your experiences matter, and you don't leave your experiences when you walk into a classroom. And so as educators, we have to use the richness and beauty of all the cultures of our kids who walk in our door to be able to reach them. So I think a great conversation you and I had earlier, you talked about how it was important for you to being a young man in Birmingham and being down to sit and listen to how you got to where you are now. And you said that being able to listen to the radio and being able to adopt the tone of that DJ gave you the opportunity to now be here, Lee Pitts, over 20 years providing that service here in Southwest Florida. It is important for our children to have that same level of saying that I see you, I believe you, and here's an opportunity for you to be supported, and supported regardless of what people see on the outside of you, what your experiences are, maybe ESE disability, maybe race, creed, orientation, gender. Those things, identity, matter, and our identity is important, and we have to make sure that as educators we take that into consideration.
Outstanding. Now, I said last question, but one of the good things is I control the TV show. I can ask another question if I want to.
I'm going to go back to you, Dr. Adkins, and this is really the last question. 5 years from now, this department being what it aspires to be and many other things, how would our district look, feel, and taste?
5 years from now, we won't hear about achievement gaps because there will be no achievement gap. You know, that we will have graduation rates that are, I think, not just something that's a model here in Florida, but across the country. That's where we hope to go.
Okay, so we, Lee Pitts Live, we will be tracking this. We will be talking about it. And 5 years from now, we'll go and look at the notes. Hopefully I'll still be alive and all this other stuff, okay? It's been great having you both on the show. And looking forward to getting you back in the future. Of course, Lee Pitts Live in 2019, we'll come out to the district and take some show.
All right.
Sounds
Fantastic.
good.
As the saying goes on this particular show, for those who say it can't be done, they're usually interrupted by those like these fine gentlemen here who are helping us with the education of all our students here in the school district of Lee County. We'll be right back talking Punta Gorda. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching Lee Pitts Live. Of course, I'm Lee Pitts, the host of Lee Pitts Live. We're here at the Holiday Inn Airport in Fort Myers, and I want you to continue to watch Lee Pitts Live on television, on YouTube, and of course, listen to us on radio. But to get all of your shows to come right to you, just click on that subscribe button right there, and Lee Pitts Live will come right to you, your time, your way. That's Lee Pitts Live.